Today we'll be talking about police brutality in the case of Tyre Nichols. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist. Today we're going to kind of just discuss the police brutality and the controversies surrounding Tyre Nichols. We're going to get into some of the rumors, allegations, things like that, and just kind of give our opinions on the whole situation. For those that don't know, Tyre Nichols, he was a man that got pulled over for allegedly reckless driving, right?
He's pulled over for reckless driving. There's an incident. You can look up all the body cam footage. It's available. We chose not to show it on here just because of the nature of it and to be respectful. In the video, it starts with one of the officers pulling up, and they are already like 2 or 3 officers in the process of pulling him out of the car. They're like yelling obscenities, giving commands, just kind of like screaming.
They're being like very aggressive. It's clear that they can overpower him, yet they seem to be wanting to escalate as opposed to de-escalate the situation, which is what they should be doing.
They're part of this unit called Scorpion, which is supposed to be for like street crime and stuff like that. And it's interesting to note the first body cam footage pulls up when they're already starting to do the arrest. It's important also to note that he was about 2 minutes from his house when this had happened. And in the process of this happening, pepper spray goes off, hits like 3 of the officers, and Tyre Nichols starts running. He makes it about a half mile away to the point where 2 of the officers catch up to him. And that's when the footage that's been kind of circulating across the internet that's brought up the issue of the police brutality is filmed. It's filmed from 2 different angles, one on like a pole for a street light, and then I think another angle, I'm not sure where that comes from. They beat him so badly that he
succumbed to his injuries later and did pass away. Another point to prove is no matter what, if you're being pulled over and the police already have numbers on you, there is no reason that you shouldn't leave that situation unalive. You should be leaving the situation completely intact, and there was no reason for this whole situation to have happened. Now, there is something I was going to bring up, though. He was a FedEx worker, and one of the police officers' wives was also a FedEx worker.
Tyre Nichols worked at FedEx, and one of the officers' wives worked at FedEx, like you said. And this is a rumor. We can't prove that, but we do know that after the beating took place, one of the officers took pictures, and he sent those pictures to 5 people. 4 of those people were in the department. One of them was outside of the department, which just means it was a regular person and it was a female. The report is that he sent a picture of Tyre Nichols' face to his wife, knowing that they were in a relationship. You know how we brought up earlier, they got there already, and there was no camera footage.
It almost seems like a planned attack. It also shows the officer's lack of competency. As a police officer, you should be able to be mentally strong enough to separate work from home affairs like that. So even if they were having an affair, it was not justified to go and attack this man.
Yeah, if at some point during the arrest, if this arrest was even warranted, that's where I was getting at, is it was already on when the guy got there. When the first footage that we're able to see of the officer coming onto scene to get out of the car, then the audio clicks on and you see him walk over, there's already officers screaming at him and pulling him out of his car. They're screaming, you know. I don't think that he really did anything to begin with.
I think he was just scared. At a certain point, the man's even calling for his mother, which to me kind of shows a very basic instinct, something that you do when you really think this could be it. We always talk about, oh, the officer was afraid for their life, da-da-da-da-da. They're trained professionals. What about when the civilians are afraid for their lives? We're not supposed to be trained for these situations, yet we're supposed to be the ones handling it more maturely. And who's to say you or me wouldn't have ran? If we're getting pepper sprayed, we're getting beaten. Who even knows if he was driving recklessly? That's still an unknown factor in it as well. You know what I mean?
That's what gets me really bad, is that we don't know that it starts that way, that he pulls up and they're already screaming, telling him, I'm going to break your jaw. If you resist, I'm going to hurt you. Put your hands behind your back, while some guy's already got his hands and trying to force him into handcuffs. You know, he's screaming, put your hands forward or I'm going to hurt you.
It shows a lot of hyper-aggression. I do believe if you get into legal trouble in America, or anywhere really, you do deserve your day in court. It's not something that should be handled in the street. It's just proving more so that the police officers in certain instances are acting more so like a gang than they are acting like public servants as they should be. They say they're here to serve and protect, yet things like this happen and diminish public trust. And it just makes it to where the public doesn't want to mess with them. They don't feel comfortable with them. It's led to a divide almost, I would say. I definitely think that these police officers need to pay for their crimes. they don't need to ever work for law enforcement again. And more importantly, they need to go see the inside of a jail cell.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that it's your duty as an officer of the peace, because while you're in that role, in that capacity, you're not a civilian. And if something from your civilian life shows up at your work, let's say you pull somebody over and it happens to be the guy that your wife is sleeping with, it's on you to excuse yourself from that situation and bring somebody in from an objective point of view. It shouldn't escalate to what it did. In my head, that's exactly what it was, is this guy was out to get vengeance.
And not only that, kind of like with the Brian Walsh case that we did, you can always just leave someone. Just because someone cheats, it's not the end of the world. It may make you feel a type of way. It may make you feel insecure. It can do a number of things to you emotionally, but there's plenty of people in this world. You can definitely find another person. There's nothing set in stone that you need to stay with that one person. All in all, this story is just really sad because it just could have been avoided. It was all over pettiness and, well, no proof that it was over that, but
it also shows a fail to act and just a refusal to speak up on what's wrong. Paramedics showed up and I think 16 to 19 minutes went by. And I would call that gang mentality or mob mentality, where you see everybody else is doing it, so you rationalize to yourself that this is okay. There had to be at least one person there that told themselves, I know this is wrong. I should say something.
I honestly believe you're just as guilty if you're one of the police officers, even if you don't put hands on him, but if you stand there and watch that man cry for his mother, that you're just as liable for the whole situation. I don't really want to harp on anything too much. I think I just kind of want to say rest in peace, Tyre Nichols, and I hope these police officers get what they deserve. Is there anything you kind of want to say in closing, or any other points you had for this?
I think you put a bow on it pretty nicely.
Well, with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave your feelings down in the comments below. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist.